Good morning, dear friends at Salem. Welcome to our weekly message, this being Veterans Day week, November 11th. We thank our veterans for their service to our country, to our nation. And at the end of our message today, there will be a brief video show of photos of our veterans of Salem Lutheran Church. And once again, thank you for your service, and thank you for our young people at Faith Formation. This was kind of a cool thing they gave for clergy appreciation. I know it shows backwards in your videotape here, but the thing that I found most intriguing was the leaves are fingerprints of the children. I thought that was kind of cool. So thank you to all our Faith Formation kids. Appreciate that very much. Other things that are going on, we've got special worship services coming up for the Thanksgiving Eve service. And then, of course, in December, as Jack reported in the newsletter last month, Christmas Eve service at 7 p.m. this year. So make that note in your calendars. Our call committee has been commissioned and are meeting, and we'll keep you informed regularly as to what is going on. They just met with Krista Lynn from the Synod office, our representative. Deacon Lynn is going to be the one they'll be working with over the next time until you receive a new pastor. Food drive continues for neighbors, and thank you for all those who donate to that. Very important ministry. Neighbor serves our community, and Moreland Elementary, we're collecting winter outerwear for them as well. The Giving Tree is up. The Giving Tree, most of you are quite familiar with. That is our tree that we collect gifts for families, and I know it seems a little early to be beginning this, but in order to have the presents wrapped and under the tree on time, we need to start this right now, and the information is in the email blast, so you can get that, the more detailed stuff for that. So this week our text is Mark 13, oftentimes referred to as the Little Apocalypse. It begins at the first verse, Jesus talking to his disciples. As he came out of the temple, one of his disciples said to him, "Look, teacher, what large stones and what large buildings." Then Jesus asked him, "Do you see these great buildings? Not one stone will be left upon another. All will be thrown down." When he was sitting on the Mount of Olives, opposite the temple, Peter, James, John, and Andrew asked him privately, "Tell us when this will be, and what will be the sign that all these things are about to be accomplished?" Then Jesus began to say to them, "Beware that no one leads you astray. Many will come in my name and say, 'I am he,' and they will lead many astray. When you hear of wars and rumors of wars, do not be alarmed. This must take place, but the end is still to come. For nation will rise up against nation, kingdom against kingdom. There will be earthquakes in various places. There will be famines. This is but the beginning of the birth pains." So the little apocalypse. The disciples come into the temple, and it's got to be quite impressive for them. Remember, they've been out working the countryside, and now they come to the big city. And you can imagine what it would be like for a rural kid growing up in outstate Minnesota, coming for the first time to Minneapolis and stares into the sky at the Target Field or US Bank Stadium. The architecture draws our eyes up to the heavens and in awe. But Jesus dampens their stories and says, well, this is about to crumble. And yes, all buildings do eventually crumble. All statements of our economic success will crumble. Remember that Metrodome when it finally came down, which was once the centerpiece for Minneapolis. Not a very attractive centerpiece, but nonetheless a centerpiece. It had to come down. The temple will be destroyed by the Roman army in 70 AD. The Roman occupational forces came in and finally decided to completely demolish Israel and Jerusalem, and they tore down the temple as well, desecrated the temple. It was a devastating event for the Jewish people. But it's also coincidental that Mark is believed to be written that same year of 70 AD, the first of the Gospels written. It sets the stage as to where the context is, why Jesus would say something like this. And so here we are. The disciples then pull him over privately. Oh, that's kind of a curious thing. Why would they want to pull Jesus over privately? Are they fearful of what Jesus might say? Do they really not understand what he's about and where he's going? Do they want an inside track from the other disciples? It's a curious thing, speculation of course, but it's not the first time the disciples pulled Jesus aside for a little private consultation. Perhaps they just want a little more influence. Sometimes, it's like the backroom dealings. Let's pull the governor into the back room here and have a little conversation, a little private come to Jesus meeting. And we can speculate as to why the disciples might have done it, but it certainly could be a possible theory. And so they want to know, when will it happen? When will the end arrive? The word apocalypse, most people are quite familiar with the word apocalypse, but that's simply a transliteration of a Greek word. The word that is translated into the English is revelation. And most of us are familiar with that final book of Revelation. By the way, it's not Revelations, it's a revelation, singular, one revelation. And that is kind of the cornerstone of apocalyptic material. We kind of go back to that. But apocalyptic material is found in many places in the Bible. Here in Mark, of course. Other Gospels also have recordings of Jesus talking about the end times. The Old Testament prophets enumerate immensely on the end times and some of these images that we have. And oftentimes the colorful language, colorful images are recorded in that final book of Revelation, which borrows most of those images from the Old Testament prophets, Ezekiel in particular. So this colorful language is oftentimes what we portray as the apocalyptic times, the end times. However, Jesus speaks more about the journey to the end. What happens now is important. It's not just storing up canned goods in your backyard shelter when the final war comes, the final desolation comes. We've got this image that it's going to come from outside, but I think we probably do a pretty good job of destroying ourselves without the help of any exterior forces. But anyway, the colorful language that oftentimes is used is absent in most of Jesus' discussions about the end times. In fact, he's almost nonchalant about, well, there's going to be wars. Nation's going to rise up against nation. We're going to have all these tragedies, all these things happening. That's not the end. No, just be careful. Be careful you don't follow some of these charlatans, some of these snake oil salesmen who tell you the end is near. Because I want you to worry about the journey to the end. The things that you can control, like healing the sick, feeding the hungry, clothing the naked, opening the eyes of the blind, and so forth. So we're going to talk a little bit about that on Sunday, about the apocalyptic nature of this story, and some of the things that Jesus refers to. But more so, we're going to talk about what's important now, because that's what Jesus focuses on in the text. So I will see you on Sunday. Thanks for joining me today. Again, thank you to our veterans. Appreciate all of your service to our country and to our nation. I wish you a good week of celebration. Be still and know that the Lord is God.